Oh my goodness, here we are. I can't believe I'm doing this. It's here we are. I'm Patricia Shanks. This is the first episode, the inaugural episode of Studio Shanks Sundays live at 5. And I think I'm a bit early, but I was afraid that my phone would go black and I'd have to start all over again. So let me get a little adjusted, get a little closer to you all. Um, I have notes. I just want you to know I have notes. I have been stressing all day long. This is so exciting to do this. And I'm hoping that someone will come in and make a comment and say hello. I can't guarantee that I'll know how to respond to comments and everything. This is a learning process for me. But for me, let me get ahead of myself a little bit. This is the book that I'll never write. These are little teaching concepts, ideas, notions that I'd like to impart to people. Sometimes there isn't time in a lesson. Sometimes it's not appropriate in lessons. Students aren't prepared with this information. But anyway, this is what I'm all about. I am a teacher, a voice teacher. I've been doing this for 4 decades. I know I look awfully young, don't I? Don't say anything. I've been teaching for 4 decades plus. And I want to introduce myself and do all the things I'm supposed to do. My website, first of all, you can find everything at patriciashanks.com. Hello, I see someone said hello, thank you. Also you can find me on Facebook. My page is Patricia Shanks Music. On Instagram, I'm Patricia_Shanks, I think, Patricia Shanks. On Twitter, I'm Studio Shanks. So please find me there, and if you find anything of any interest here at all, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is of course Patricia Shanks Voice. Okay, what is this? Studio Shanks Live, or Sundays Live at 5. I'm talking about singing, about performing, all the intricacies of it, all the little detail-y things, and sometimes the bigger picture things. But things that aren't always discussed in lessons. And I feel there's a reason for this. I don't know why, and we'll find out. As I said, I'm kind of a wreck because years ago, if you remember something on the radio, those of you who remember radio at all, there was a show called Something You Should Know, a little segment by host Mike Carruthers. And something that I wrote in social media, I think on CompuServe, oh my gosh, or somewhere, caught his attention. So he called me to interview me for his segment. And I was like, oh my goodness, I think this is a wonderful thing. I'm so privileged. So I over-prepared. I had a table set up and all my notes and everything. And he calls me and I have books, notes, I'm ready to go. And he asks me the first question and I say, I just went blank. So I do have some notes, but not too many. Okay. As I mentioned in a little tease that I did for this, I am going to talk a little bit about practicing. There's a puppy dog next door. I heard a puppy dog. A comment. A puppy dog has commented. And why we practice and why we don't practice. That's where I'm going with this today. Later, I'll perhaps talk about what is voice, what is singing practice, because we can have different ideas of that too, different notions. But today we'll talk about why we do and why we don't practice singing, and maybe I'll give you a couple of ideas to help you get into the practice mode for the new year. Okay, why we practice. Now, there's too much to cover, but here are a few of the many things, many reasons why we might practice, some better than others, I think. For the love of it, okay? That's what got me as a young person. I had to make this sound. I had to do this singing thing. I didn't care really if anyone listened to it. I just had to do it. We're just driven to do it. Another reason might be because we're really good at it. I mean, it's a no-brainer. I'm good at this, so I guess I'll do this. Seems like the thing I should do. Another thing, Because we're told to, because we're expected to. And of course you're going to practice, especially if this comes from a parental influence. Practice, you're going to practice. And I have something to say about that too. Over the years when I've taught young people, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11-year-olds especially, very often I'll hear parents admonish a child. They'll say, go practice now. And there's not a follow-up on that. Or they'll ask afterwards, have you practiced? But here's my more than 2 cents worth on that. If you have a young child, and this maybe goes especially for piano, which I also teach, but this goes for piano, for singing, for any kind of an activity. If you have a young child just beginning, they really need that reinforcement and that participation from parents. So if I have a parent of a 7-year-old who's just beginning piano say, but I don't know how to play the piano, my thought is, sit with your 7-year-old and let them teach you how to play the piano. And it's a multi-purpose activity then, because it's something to get the family together. It's something to teach the child, to help the child learn, and it's something to give that child a feeling of empowerment. And I taught my mommy how to play the piano, so please don't go back on your heels and say, I don't know how to play the piano. If your 7-year-old can take a beginning piano book and play the piano, so can you. So please do that, and work with them on the singing too. Give them praise, give them encouragement, maybe more than praise, and see where that takes them. Okay, anyway, I went a little off, but that's important to me. Okay, other reasons why we practice. Fame and fortune, I want to be like whoever on TV, or my favorite recording artist, and I want to make all that money. There's nothing. Oh, and the power that goes along with that, of course, and the love and acceptance. We all do much of what we do to be accepted and loved by other people, because that's the human condition. But fame and fortune, as a motivator, I'd say it's not bad. Nothing's bad. Keep it as a long-term motivator. Okay, keep it as something down the road. Keep it in the back of your mind. Keep it on your agenda. But I would say that if you don't have a love, a little passion for what you do, if there isn't some other motivator that's maybe a more short-term motivator, something that gets the work done in the present moment, to lead you to that fame and fortune and power and love and acceptance and all those things, then it might not work out so well for you. Now, I don't know. I once had a young lady, a student, who I thought maybe would be a writer or an artist or something creative, but I didn't know if she would do anything with her singing. Well, I had her for about 5 years, from 10 to 15. Years and years later, she ended up graduating from Juilliard and has this magnificent voice, just a gorgeous voice. So I'm sure I was her first teacher. I'm sure she found some other teachers along the way who encouraged her and helped her, but I'm very proud that she did that. But, I can't predict, you can't predict where you're going to end up. So have short-term goals, have long-term goals. Look for those big picture items, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Okay, other reasons why we practice, because we're bad at everything else. I don't know. I don't know. It's a practice, but I don't know if it's the most positive reason. But if it gets you going with your practicing, I don't know that I could complain. And it's how we improve. Head explosion. Okay, it's because practicing gets us wherever it is we want to be. That's why we practice. I mean, that's kind of a, that one goes at the top of the list somewhere. Another one that's maybe not the most positive, but it's a motivator, is to beat the competition. Oh yeah, they think they can do it. Well, I can do that better than they can. Always, and I'll talk about this maybe later, always be in competition with yourself. Maybe not in competition, but always, work for yourself. but try not to compete with other people. That puts too much pressure on you. That's too stressful. Um, you have to work for yourself. Keep those people in mind, check them out every once in a while, but don't obsess on beating the competition. Maybe not the best place to be. So those are some of the reasons why we do practice. Now, why we don't practice. Okay, the big one, and it's interesting because I was in a meeting just yesterday where this all came out, and I was nodding my head ferociously because this was all on my mind, and it's exactly why we don't do something. Fear. Fear of failing, or just fear. Fear of something, but underlying fear of failing, okay? I just reminded myself of something. There are a couple of good old books, little books that are quite motivational, that we should sort of have handy to give ourselves a little boost and a little pat on the back every once in a while. One of them is Letters to a Young Poet, Rainer Maria Rilke. That's hard to say. Rainer Maria Rilke, 5 times fast. So anyway, one lovely quote from this book of Rilke's is, "Perhaps everything that frightens us is, in its deepest essence, something helpless that wants our love." Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that takes all of the me-ness out of what we do. I get all worked up about these things. And puts it on the art, the craft, the process, the thing itself, takes it away from us and puts it on the thing that we're doing. We are we are loving what we do, and that's what it's all about. That's what it should be all about. So if we think that way, that fear perhaps will melt away, and we can just get on with the process of doing the thing that we love. Okay, another reason we don't practice. Okay, and we get into excuses and things, but we say we don't quite know how to practice, or we don't believe somehow that we know how or what to do. Well, that has had me scratching my head for years, because I would think, gee, when I work with students, I tell them exactly what they need to do. I give them handouts. I give them backing tracks for their vocal exercises. I play accompaniments. We in detail go over what they should work on in the songs, and everything from soup to nuts. And then at the end, they'll say, "What do I do in my practice?" or "How do I go about this?" And I'll think, what am I missing? And I really think what it is sort of a form of avoidance. It's that fear again, filtering in and keeping us from just attacking it head on. It's a little avoidance. I'm sure there's more to it than that. I am not a psychologist. I am a voice teacher. So, okay, and I have here a comment that it's important in your practice, okay, to set, and this will keep you from not practicing perhaps. Important to set clear, well-defined, small and large, short and long-term goals in order to succeed with it. So take little baby steps. Take a piece of a song. Take a piece of a vocal exercise. Take a few notes. Take little things that you want to work out. Those little things turn into one big success story. And sometimes, kind of like one of my favorite little fairy tales, the ugly duckling that turns into a swan. Sometimes we don't know until we listen back or look back how wonderful we've gotten just by taking those little steps. So have little goals and then bigger goals, and that can keep us from being stupefied by the fear. Let's see. Oh, I have no time to practice. I've been listening to an audiobook that unfortunately I can't remember it right now, but it's little snippets of the habits and rituals of famous writers primarily and other creative people. And I found it kind of interesting because I always feel like I'm not doing enough work. I'm not taking enough time with my work. That they would often just work maybe 45 minutes a day on and these are great people. These are people a la Hemingway or, very much like that character of writer. I don't know if he was one of them in particular. But anyway, they would just work a small portion of the time. The rest of the time they were running around and doing things with their friends. But I think a lot of what they did, from what I gather from that, was a sort of a preparation for their work time and a lead up into it, and then a sort of a segue out of it. And that's what we're missing now. That's something that I still had as a young person, but with social media and the internet and crazy wild life that we have now, the way the world is, we are doing so many things that we just don't take that extra time, the extra time to get into our practice mode. You have to get into the mindset. You have to get into it. You can't just careen into the practice room or into your lesson and, okay, boom, I'm ready to go. Make me sing. Okay, and we're done. I'm out. Wow, that is not going to work. I'll just tell you right now. So you have to make it a priority. And if you do, I found that when you do that, then it's more likely that you'll be more successful, you'll feel better about your practice. But you have to kind of make it, I used to talk about your practice shrine, where you get things ready, you get things set to go. And so take the time, not to belabor that with too much time. But another thing is there's no place, I have no place. There is a place for you to practice. My puppy dog next door is commenting again. There is a place for you to practice. It may not be ideal. It may not be when you want it to be there for you. But there is a place. If you need to do this, you will find a place, you will find the time. Okay, if you don't, then maybe you're just not that into it. Okay, so watch out for that. Excuse me. Hello, testing. Okay. Watch out for too many activities. Don't go shopping. It's so easy to just go do something. Let's go do lunch. Set your time aside for your practice. You'll be glad you did. Very rewarding. Okay, mindset. I'm winding down to the end. Yes, good. Perfect timing. Okay. Mindset. I have a lot of people come to me wanting encouragement, wanting support, feeling like they are not capable of doing the thing that they're coming to me to do. I do what I can to try to move them into a more positive way of looking at things. If you have lots of I can't statements, I'm not, I'll never, I don't, I won't, there you go. That's what you'll get. You can't, you won't, you never, you will. You won't. That won't help you. It makes sense that kind of thinking won't help you. You have to tell yourself that you can do something. You may not be the next superstar, and maybe you will be, but you can make some progress. You can learn, you can grow. And if that kind of thing, if that growth, if that desire to learn, to be better at a thing that you really want to do, if you have that positive kind of motivation, then you will likely come out with some good results. Okay. Yeah. One thing is, I just want people not to wince when I sing at karaoke. Tell yourself, and I always tell them, this is something that I say, you are fine the way you are now. We're all always learning and growing, and let's see if we can bump it to the next level. So please don't send yourself negative messages. It won't help you. I have written a little note sideways here. I think it was really profound, so I want to read it to myself. Yeah, all I'm saying is shun the fear, embrace the not so great or not so perfect results, love them, love yourself. You did good work, you worked on it. It will come out in the wash. Down the road, you'll get positive results. And move forward with the process. Just always keep moving forward, always. Okay, and something else came to me as I was writing these little notes. And, well, it's important. Please, please stave off jealousy of other singers and their successes. It's real easy to get into that. Oh, look at what they're doing. Gee, why am I not doing that? Why can't I could do that? Why am I not doing that? And it also can turn negative. We can start to pick at them and say, well, they're not so good. Again, picking at other people is not going to help you become what you want to be. It's just not productive. It's not positive. So do your own thing in your own space, in your own time. When those fearful thoughts, those little devils on your shoulder jump up there, start to recognize them. They're quick. They hit fast. That brain works so fast, and you won't even know. But if you stop and are a little introspective, a little mindful of what's going on in the moment, you will see those little guys and kind of chop away at them and knock them out so that they don't get you. Just work clear, but just work. Just practice. Immerse yourself in your singing. And go wherever it leads you, when and if it leads you somewhere. My nose has decided to run. I'm so. We don't always get everything that we want. We don't always go where we hope the path will lead. We don't always end up at the other end where we'd like to be, but there's something about making lemons out of lemons, and sometimes, very often, the most creative people, who I've known at least, and some of the best artists, are people who have not gotten exactly what they wanted, but they've been humbled by their process. And in that humbleness, in that humility, a greater artistry has emerged. So hopefully some of that is a little encouraging and a little inspiring. As I said, this is my first little venture here, so I think a couple of people were watching. I saw a couple of things fly by. Tell other people. I hope to have a little bit more to say and get a little bit more in depth in future episodes. Every Sunday, 5 o'clock, California time. And I think that's about it. All the commercial was at the beginning. So check back with me. And my website again, you could start at patriciashanks.com and branch out from there. Thank you so much for watching.